In this video, Noah Baumbach's acclaimed Oscar-nominated writing and dialogue will take a backseat to the aesthetic of his second feature film, 1997's Mr. Jealousy.
I joined Dashiell, Ramona's ex-boyfriend's group therapy.
Oh my God.
Nice.
You mentioned you'd been jealous in the past. Why don't you talk about that?
I just had to come by.
Forget the multiplexes. Run to the art houses. Eric Stoltz and Annabella Sciorra in Mr. Jealousy, the real green-eyed monster.
Though not a commercial success, Mr. Jealousy's French New Wave-inspired style, full of musical quotations, iris shots, and jump cuts, sets itself apart from all of Baumbach's other works. Georges Delaroux's Vacances from his score for Jules et Jim plays as the opening title fades. The allusion to Truffaut's movie continues in the opening montage accompanied by narration.
When Lester Grimm was 15, he went on his first date with a classmate named Paulina.
At the beginning of Jules et Jim, a narrator tells the origins of Jules and Jim's friendship. In Mr. Jealousy, the narrator, Baumbach himself, explains the origins of Eric Stoltz's character, Lester, and his jealousy.
In college, senior year, Lester's girlfriend of 9 months, Ariana, enjoyed comparing Lester to her previous lover.
Both feature narration that feels like a person talking fast because they're excited to tell you something, and you know you're missing some details but don't want to stop them because they're so excited. As characters in romantic comedies do, Lester and Ramona, played by Annabella Sciorra, hurt each other over the course of the movie. When Vacances plays again in the final scene, it emphasizes how much Lester has changed from the jealous guy in the opening montage. Baumbach's opening allusion and narration throughout contribute to the movie's literary feel.
Lester could actually feel the world spinning out of control.
When reading authors like Ezra Pound or James Joyce, if you do not understand their allusions and references, the pieces often fall flat. Here, whether or not the viewer recognizes the song's origin or the inspiration for the montage, it doesn't impede their understanding. The song's tone, romantic, light, and playful, translates, and the same is true for the montage's style. If the viewers do recognize the audio or visual allusion, it evokes the spirit and energy of Truffaut's movies. Baumbach opens Frances Ha with a similar montage set to a different Georges Delaroux song and uses more of his music throughout that movie. In his Mr. Jealousy review, Roger Ebert remarks, he gets the iris shots and narration from Francois Truffaut. But beyond homage, why does Baumbach use iris shots in Mr. Jealousy? Though you've probably seen iris shots before, here's the simplest definition from the Columbia Film Language Glossary. The iris shot is a shot masked in a circular form. There are two kinds of iris shots. A shot that begins with a small circle or other shape and expands is called an iris in. When the shot size shrinks to a shape or often a black screen, this is an iris out. When Lester lies to Dr. Polk, played by the late Peter Bogdanovich, the iris shot isolates their handshake, thus emphasizing Lester's dishonesty.
My name is, Vince.
Dr. Polk. Howard Polk.
Pope?
But wouldn't a close-up create the same effect? Other than being less conventional, the iris shot here is playful, like a wink to the audience. This moment is important and is going to get Lester in trouble. Like his use of Delaroux's song, Baumbach also bookends the movie with iris shots. This symmetry of shots creates a storybook feel. The story opens with an iris in, once upon a time,
Here's how it all began. Simple enough.
and closes with an iris out, happily ever after.
Hélas, hélas, hélas.
Jump cuts are another editing technique popularized by the French New Wave, most notably by Jean-Luc Godard, that Baumbach uses throughout Mr. Jealousy. Filmmakers achieved this look of jumping forward in time by removing frames from a sequence. Baumbach uses jump cuts as a means of indirect characterization. Ramona first appears on screen putting on makeup and juggling multiple phone calls. The jump cuts accentuate her scattered, multitasking personality.
But she did have trouble saying no. And as a result, wounded friends called her, and she took on more than she could handle.
Hello?
When Lester's mind races after therapy, the jump cuts show his inability to focus.
Confirming that the X was indeed an existing human being turned Lester's thoughts to darker things. Lester could only bring himself to glance at the book, to read a little at a time.
In this clip from Michael Caine's acting series, he discusses how excessive blinking on camera affects viewers' perceptions of characters.
But if I'm talking to you, and I don't blink, and I just keep going, and I don't blink, and I keep on going, and I don't blink, you start to listen to what I'm saying. And it makes me a very strong person, as opposed to someone who is sitting there going, which is someone who's completely flustered.
Though Lester looks relatively calm in this scene, his doubts about Ramona's past, combined with the jump cuts, create the same effect as excessive blinking, and suggest that he is, to use Michael Caine's term, completely flustered.
Okay, fine. There are 26 men who have made tender love to my girlfriend. I mean, being in therapy really opens up these feelings.
Building around a screwball premise with tools from the French New Wave, Baumbach creates a memorable, stylized comedy. He uses iris shots, jump cuts, and allusions as a means of characterization and engaging with the ideas and techniques of his favorite filmmakers.